Hello friends. Today, let's dive into the fascinating world of the Virgo born in the year of the dragon, a rare and compelling blend of analytical brilliance and fiery charisma. Imagine someone who walks into a room and commands attention without trying, someone who speaks with clarity but feels with depth. That's the Virgo Dragon. Earth meets fire, logic meets passion, and humility dances with confidence. This personality is a paradox wrapped in charm, and what follows is a deep dive into every key aspect of their nature: love, marriage, sex, friendship, business, dark sides, and life goals. Love. When it comes to love, the Virgo Dragon is both elusive and magnetic. Their presence is subtle but unforgettable. Unlike signs that wear their hearts on their sleeves, the Virgo Dragon guards their emotions closely at first. They analyze every interaction, read between the lines, and assess long-term potential before letting themselves feel deeply. Virgo brings caution, and Dragon brings pride. Together, they make someone who refuses to fall carelessly. They view love not as a reckless plunge but as a sacred investment of time, energy, and soul. They will test the foundation before they build the castle. They don't fall in love easily, and they don't want to. Their Virgo nature demands a rare combination: emotional cleanliness, mental chemistry, and a life that feels well aligned. Messy, erratic, or overly emotional partners don't hold their interest. To them, love should elevate, not complicate. They want a relationship that feels efficient yet magical, practical yet passionate. Their dragon side adds a quiet fire. When attraction happens, it hits hard and fast, but only if the other person meets their high standards. They want someone who challenges them, excites them, and walks with purpose. They are not swept off their feet by superficial charm or casual flings. For the Virgo Dragon, attraction must be earned, and attention must be deserved. They crave someone who stimulates their intellect just as much as their heart. Deep conversation, sharp wit, integrity, these are their aphrodisiacs. A beautiful face won't move them, but a mind that sparks theirs will make them reconsider everything. They are drawn to individuals who are self-aware, ambitious, and emotionally intelligent. This is not the type to chase. This is the type to observe, and then pursue with full intent. However, once in love, they can be overwhelming, in the best and worst ways. Their dragon side burns with intensity, while Virgo channels it into action. They want to be useful, to solve problems, to uplift and support. Love, for them, is not passive, it's a mission. They want to build a life, not just share one. This partner will brainstorm your future, organize your finances, plan your goals, and still remember your favorite book. Their affection is expressed through deep involvement in your success. But their love can sometimes feel like pressure. They want so much for you, and expect you to want it too. Their love language leans toward acts of service and intellectual support. They show affection by improving your life, helping you get healthier, giving career advice, or fixing what's broken, emotionally or literally. Dragon gives them a desire to lead, and Virgo gives them the tools to do so methodically. The Virgo Dragon partner is the one who helps you rewrite your resume, organize your business, and push through personal limits. They don't just love you, they believe in your potential, and they work to make it real. Their way of saying, "I love you," often sounds like, "I believe in you." Yet beware. If betrayed, the Virgo Dragon doesn't forgive easily. Their loyalty is deep, and so is their memory. Virgo never forgets the details of pain, and Dragon never forgets the insult. Together, they create a lover who might not explode in rage, but who will quietly walk away and slam the door forever. They don't seek revenge, they seek closure. They will replay every moment, analyze every lie, and once the decision is made, they're gone. There is no second act with a Virgo Dragon after betrayal, just silence, distance, and dignity. They would rather be alone than risk their heart with someone careless again. Marriage. Marriage for a Virgo Dragon is a sacred bond, not a casual decision, not a romantic experiment, and certainly not a social convenience. It is a promise carved into stone, backed by serious thought and unwavering intent. They see it as the ultimate partnership, one that merges love with strategy, intimacy with structure. Virgo brings the planner's mind and the nurturer's loyalty. Dragon adds vision, fire, and the desire to protect what they build. Together, they create a spouse who doesn't just want a happy marriage, they design it, cultivate it, and fight for it daily. But this depth of commitment means they rarely rush into it. Love, for them, must be time-tested, intellectually vetted, and emotionally refined before vows are ever exchanged. They are traditional in many ways, though not always in appearance. They may not care about ceremonies or rituals, but they deeply value the essence of marriage, commitment, responsibility, and legacy. They believe in family, not just starting one, but leading one with strength and pride. Shared goals, aligned values, and mutual respect are cornerstones of their idea of matrimony. They don't want a partner who just loves them, they want a co-architect in building a meaningful life. But because their standards are sky-high, many Virgo dragons marry later in life. They prefer to take their time, ensuring they're choosing with both heart and mind. For them, settling is not an option, ever. In a marriage, they are both the rock and the flame. The rock, dependable, grounding, unwavering. The flame, passionate, driven, and capable of igniting growth. Their Virgo side ensures the home runs smoothly, bills are paid, plans are made, goals are tracked. Their dragon side keeps things vibrant, ambitious, and emotionally charged. They challenge their spouse to grow, not out of criticism, but from a deep belief in their partner's potential. Life with them is never lazy or lukewarm. There will be to-do lists and spreadsheets, yes, but also surprise love letters, spontaneous trips, or midnight brainstorming sessions over wine. This marriage is a mix of structure and spark. They are supportive to a fault, the kind of spouse who will push you to pursue that promotion, start that business, or finally write that novel. Virgo helps you plan, Dragon makes you believe. But their support isn't always gentle. They can be intense motivators, especially when they think you're underperforming or playing small. This stems from love, but can sometimes feel like pressure. They may project their own high standards onto their partner, unintentionally creating an atmosphere of constant self-improvement. It's not that they don't love you as you are, it's that they believe you're capable of even more. Living with a Virgo dragon is inspiring and demanding. Their perfectionism, however, can strain even the strongest bonds. When their partner doesn't meet expectations, emotionally, intellectually, or practically, the Virgo dragon may grow distant or critical. They dislike disorder and detest laziness. Small flaws can trigger frustration. Left unchecked, this perfectionism may come across as coldness, control, or even superiority. Virgo nags, dragon dominates. It's a potent mix when out of balance. One of their lifelong marital lessons is learning to let go of impossible standards, to accept that love doesn't need to be flawless to be fulfilling. True emotional intimacy only begins when they allow space for imperfection, in themselves and in others. But when they find the right partner, someone who is strong yet gentle, ambitious yet grounded, they become fiercely devoted, generous, and almost unshakably loyal. They thrive in a marriage where both partners are equals, not in power, but in purpose. Their love deepens over time. The longer they are with someone worthy, the more romantic and selfless they become. Marriage becomes their sacred territory, their greatest investment, and their softest place to land. It's the battlefield where they fight for love, and the sanctuary where they find peace. With the right person, the Virgo dragon isn't just a good spouse, they're unforgettable. Sex. Sex for the Virgo dragon is far more layered than it first appears. At a glance, they seem composed, reserved, and almost indifferent to lust. The Virgo side presents a calm, modest exterior, precise, thoughtful, and often restrained. But underneath that surface lies the dragon's molten core, bold, dominant, and deeply sensual. This combination creates a sexual personality that is paradoxical yet magnetic. They may not lead with physicality or open desire, but something about them pulls others in. It's in their eyes, their confidence, their subtle gestures, a sense of latent fire that only a select few will ever experience. They are not the type to flirt openly or indulge in casual hookups without meaning. Virgo dislikes the chaos of messy emotional entanglements, and Dragon demands substance and respect. They are drawn to partners who are intelligent, grounded, and emotionally mature, people who can keep up with their mind, not just their body. Their seduction begins long before the bedroom. It happens in a shared glance over dinner, in the way someone speaks with purpose, in the exchange of vulnerable truths. They build desire like a slow-burning fire, careful, deliberate, and impossible to ignore once it starts. When they do trust someone enough to open that intimate door, they often reveal a completely different side. The modest Virgo falls away, and the Dragon steps into full power. They become expressive, exploratory, and fully attuned to their partner's needs. They don't just want to please, they want to transform the moment into something unforgettable. For the Virgo Dragon, sex isn't just a physical act, it's an energetic exchange. It must be meaningful, even sacred. They aren't interested in mechanical pleasure, they want connection, fusion, and mutual surrender. It's about claiming and being claimed in return. Their biggest turn-on is not what most people expect. It's not lingerie, dirty talk, or candlelight, although those things have their place. What truly ignites them is mutual respect and intellectual chemistry. They are deeply roused by someone who sees their depth, challenges their mind, and speaks with emotional clarity. Mental foreplay is everything. A conversation that unveils someone's dreams or a subtle touch filled with intention will do more for them than any overt attempt at seduction. They are moved by mystery and depth, and crave partners who value quality over novelty. If it's not real, it's not for them. There's also an inner vulnerability they rarely show, especially around intimacy. The Virgo side is prone to self-doubt, always comparing and analyzing. Are they good enough? Too much? Not enough? Meanwhile, the Dragon wrestles with pride. They hate feeling inadequate but fear exposing their softer side. This can create a curious emotional wall in sexual relationships. They may seem in control, but inside they're looking for reassurance, affirmation, and acceptance. For them to truly let go, their partner must offer not just physical passion, but emotional safety. Patience, trust, and consistency are the keys that unlock their full sensual potential. And when that trust is earned, the experience becomes transcendental. The Virgo Dragon becomes a lover who is deeply attentive, remarkably intuitive, and surprisingly adventurous. They approach sex with both precision and passion, knowing exactly how to please and willing to explore new territory without losing their integrity. They want each experience to feel intentional and intense. They're not here for temporary highs. They want to dive into the depths, uncover secrets, and emerge more connected than before. With them, sex is not about escape, it's about merging. And if you're the one they choose to merge with, you'll never forget it. Friendship. As friends, Virgo Dragons are dependable, thoughtful, and profoundly loyal. They are not the center of every social gathering, nor do they need to be. You won't always find them posting selfies with friends or organizing large parties, but their absence is always noticed. They operate on a deeper level, investing in friendships that feel intentional, long-lasting, and emotionally meaningful. Their brand of friendship is consistent and quiet but powerful. They remember the little things, your favorite coffee, that job interview you mentioned in passing, the date your parent passed away. And when life hits hard, they're often the first one standing beside you, no drama, just presence. They are natural-born counselors in their friend group. Their Virgo side brings clarity, rationality, and insight, while their Dragon essence adds boldness and conviction. They'll listen without judgment, then offer advice that is practical, sharp, and often deeply transformative. They don't just sympathize, they strategize. If you're lost in your career, your heartbreak, or your own self-doubt, a Virgo Dragon won't just nod along. They'll hand you a blueprint. Their friends know they can count on them not only to empathize but to help them rebuild. They're the one you call at 2 a.m. when you need real answers, not just comfort. However, their honesty can cut both ways. A Virgo Dragon will always speak the truth as they see it, even if it stings. They don't believe in sugarcoating reality, especially when it comes to people they care about. If you're making excuses, repeating old mistakes, or dating someone toxic, expect to hear about it. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they believe you deserve better. Their criticism is rarely emotional, it's surgical. They analyze problems and offer solutions. But not everyone is ready for that level of candor. Some may find their approach too intense. To be friends with a Virgo dragon, you need a strong ego and an open heart. They are extremely selective about who earns their full trust. Casual acquaintances don't make the cut. They watch closely, test boundaries, and observe how people behave under pressure. Loyalty, consistency, and integrity are non-negotiables for them. They don't have time for drama, gossip, or superficial bonds. If someone is flaky, dishonest, or emotionally chaotic, they'll start pulling back, subtly at first, then completely. They don't believe in wasting time on relationships that don't elevate or enrich their life. This protectiveness creates a small but powerful inner circle, one that is rooted in mutual respect and long-term vision. When you do earn their trust, their friendship becomes one of the most grounding and motivating forces in your life. They'll push you to be better without making you feel small. They'll celebrate your wins as if they were their own and show up for your losses with sleeves rolled up. A Virgo dragon friend doesn't just support, they build. They help you strategize your dreams, reconnect with your worth, and realign with your purpose when you've lost your way. Their pride in you is real, and they'll remind you of your greatness even when you can't see it yourself. Their friendship is the mirror that reflects your best self back at you. And through it all, they remain fiercely protective. If someone hurts you, disrespects you, or spreads falsehoods, the dragon side rises in full defense. They won't start fights, but they will end them, swiftly and unapologetically. They value their friends like family, and betrayal of one is betrayal of all. They may not shower you in constant praise or show affection with grand displays, but their loyalty runs marrow deep. When they call you their friend, they mean it with their whole soul. In a world of transactional relationships, a Virgo dragon's friendship is a rare and priceless gift, one built not on convenience, but on soul-level loyalty. Business. In the world of business, the Virgo dragon operates like a calculated storm, precise, powerful, and transformative. Their work style is grounded in Virgo's attention to detail and strategic rigor, fused with Dragon's unstoppable ambition and charismatic drive. They aren't simply good at business, they excel in ways that command respect. Their mind is always active, processing data, analyzing patterns, and envisioning possibilities others miss. They treat every decision like a chess move, deliberate, exact, and with a long-term objective in mind. To them, business isn't just work. It's a personal mission to bring order, impact, and legacy into the world. They are instinctively drawn to industries that challenge both their intellect and their instincts, places where precision meets power. Careers in finance, law, entrepreneurship, analytics, writing, and design often call to them. They crave environments where performance is measurable and results are earned. They aren't driven by applause or ego, despite the dragon's natural flair. They're driven by mastery. Virgo dragons often rise through the ranks by merit, not favoritism. They're the quiet ones who work while others talk, then suddenly emerge at the top, with no shortcuts taken. Their success tends to be self-made, not because they seek glory, but because they demand nothing less than excellence from themselves. Their leadership style is intense, but always purposeful. As bosses, Virgo dragons are never lazy or complacent. They hold their teams to high standards of punctuality, accountability, and excellence, but they demand even more of themselves. They don't believe in doing anything halfway. If you're on their team, expect to be challenged, corrected, and inspired, often all in the same day. They won't sugarcoat feedback or coddle incompetence, but they'll reward discipline, loyalty, and innovation with fierce support and mentorship. Their team always knows where they stand. Underneath that tough exterior is a leader who wants everyone to rise, but only if they're willing to put in the work. Within a group or organization, the Virgo dragon is usually the mastermind. They're the one connecting the dots no one else sees, the one who transforms chaos into structure. They have a sixth sense for inefficiencies and waste, and a relentless drive to fix them. Virgo contributes systems, processes, and refinement. Dragon brings energy, foresight, and courage. Together, they act as a kind of silent engine powering teams to victory. They aren't interested in micromanaging, they hate wasting time. But they absolutely insist on results. If you give them a clear objective and enough freedom, they'll outperform everyone. Just don't expect them to tolerate excuses or disorganization. Financially, Virgo Dragons are cautious, methodical, and impressively savvy. They aren't gamblers in the traditional sense, they don't throw money at flashy trends or follow hype. But they are willing to bet on themselves, and they do it with precision. Every investment, business venture, or major purchase is the product of research, timing, and strategy. They're the type to track their spending, study market trends, and analyze ROI before committing to anything. Yet their dragon energy means they won't let fear hold them back. They understand that calculated risks, not blind leaps, are what build wealth over time. As a result, financial success often follows them, not because they chase it desperately, but because they build it intentionally. What truly sets them apart in business is their dual identity. Virgo gives them the power to perfect, and Dragon gives them the will to dominate. They are never content with good enough. They want to innovate, elevate, and lead. Whether running their own company or reshaping someone else's, the Virgo Dragon works with a fire that burns clean and bright. Their ambition isn't loud, it's sharp. Their vision isn't reckless, it's exact. And their results speak for themselves. In a world full of noise and shortcuts, the Virgo Dragon builds slow, strong, and smart, and in the end, they often stand alone at the top. Dark sides. No one is perfect, and for the Virgo Dragon, that truth cuts especially deep. They are individuals who live by high standards, driven to improve not only themselves but everything and everyone around them. But this very pursuit of excellence can become a double-edged sword. Their greatest strengths, precision, discipline, leadership, often cast the longest shadows. The darker parts of their personality don't appear loudly or immediately. They surface in quiet moments. A harsh word disguised as helpfulness, a growing distance disguised as independence, a wound hidden behind productivity. To understand the Virgo Dragon fully, one must look beyond their brilliance and into the quiet corners they rarely let others see. Their perfectionism is both armor and prison. Virgo's critical mind doesn't just assess, it dissects. And when that critical eye turns inward, it can become cruel. They hold themselves to impossibly high standards, and even small mistakes can feel like personal failures. Add Dragon's pride to the mix, and you have someone who cannot stand feeling weak, wrong, or exposed. When they fall short, they may spiral into silent self-loathing, masking it with overachievement. Toward others, this same perfectionism can manifest as harsh judgment. They may become intolerant of people who don't measure up, quietly resenting incompetence or emotional messiness. This makes close relationships difficult if they don't learn to temper their expectations with compassion. Their fear of failure runs deeper than most people realize. Virgo analyzes everything, and Dragon must win. The idea of being mediocre, wrong, or replaceable terrifies them. Instead of processing failure with grace, they tend to intellectualize it or push it out of sight. They struggle to forgive themselves, let alone others. This internal tension creates anxiety, frustration, and emotional rigidity. They might bury their shame beneath work, control, or silent withdrawal, refusing to let anyone see them unravel. Vulnerability, to them, feels like a threat, something Dragon's ego doesn't want to acknowledge and Virgo's logic doesn't know how to process. As a result, they can become emotionally distant, withholding not because they don't care, but because they're scared to break. One of their most consistent traps is workaholism. They aren't just ambitious, they are driven to dominate. The Virgo Dragon equates success with control, progress, and efficiency. They want results, systems, and visible achievement, fast. This often leads to imbalanced lives. They pour themselves into projects, businesses, and goals while neglecting their emotional world, their personal relationships, and sometimes even their health. The dragon wants to conquer, the Virgo wants to perfect. Together, they fuel a cycle of constant productivity that can wear them down physically and emotionally. They often ignore red flags, burnout, loneliness, dissatisfaction, until it's too late, and even then, they rarely admit they need rest or help. When wounded or betrayed, the Virgo dragon rarely explodes immediately. They retreat first, into silence, into analysis, into icy emotional distance. They will play every conversation back in their mind, looking for flaws, lies, inconsistencies. They will try to make sense of their pain in private, often suffering alone for far longer than necessary. But if the betrayal crosses a certain line, the dragon awakens, and when it does, it doesn't come back softly. They become fierce, confrontational, and sometimes ruthless. Forgiveness is not easily given, and second chances are rare. They believe in loyalty, and if that loyalty is broken, they don't just move on, they erase. It's not revenge they seek, but removal. Jealousy is another quiet but potent shadow. Virgo wants everything in order. Dragon wants to be the best, the most desired, the most irreplaceable. Put them together, and you get a person who can mask possessiveness as concern or practical advice. They may become subtly controlling in relationships, not by yelling or manipulating, but by making their partner feel guilty for being independent or different. They may critique, correct, or smother, all under the guise of love. This isn't because they don't trust their partner, it's because they don't trust chaos. For the Virgo dragon, love must follow a blueprint. Learning to let go, to allow freedom, to accept emotional unpredictability, this is their greatest relational challenge. To evolve past their shadows, the Virgo dragon must learn the art of softness. They need to realize that failure is not weakness, that imperfection is not the enemy, and that love cannot be earned through control. They must invite vulnerability into their lives, not as a flaw to be fixed, but as a strength to be honored. Only then can they stop striving to be invincible and start allowing themselves to simply be human. In that humility, in that messiness, in that quiet surrender, the Virgo dragon begins to heal and transform not just themselves, but everyone lucky enough to love them. Life goals. The Virgo dragon is not here to simply exist, they are here to build. Their life is not a series of random events or half-baked dreams, but a carefully curated mission. They don't just have goals, they have blueprints. And those blueprints are drawn with purpose, discipline, and vision. Virgo contributes an analytical mindset, an obsession with improvement, and a respect for structure. Dragon adds fire, ambition, and a hunger for impact. Put them together, and you get someone whose life goals stretch far beyond personal comfort or material gain. They want to shape something lasting, something that speaks, something that matters. They are legacy builders at heart. To the Virgo dragon, a goal isn't worth pursuing unless it creates value, for themselves, for others, or for the future. They are often pulled toward causes, careers, and crafts that allow them to leave their mark. Whether it's launching a business, founding an organization, building generational wealth, or influencing culture through writing or design, their efforts are never shallow. They may not crave fame, but they do crave relevance. Their ambition has layers. They want to be respected, yes, but more importantly, they want to be remembered. Their ideal legacy is not just what they achieved, but who they uplifted along the way. Mastery is their fuel. The Virgo dragon doesn't just want to do well, they want to dominate their craft. If they're in business, they'll chase operational excellence and long-term strategy. If they're writers, they'll edit ruthlessly and publish only what meets their exacting standards. If they're parents, they'll research developmental psychology and design intentional childhoods. They cannot bear the thought of being average, uninformed, or irrelevant. Virgo demands precision. Dragon demands elevation. Together, they make mediocrity intolerable. Their path may be difficult, but it's never aimless. Growth isn't optional, it's a way of life. During their 20s and 30s, Virgo dragons are often focused on identity through achievement. They want to prove something, to themselves, to their peers, or perhaps to an internal critic that never stops whispering. This is the season of climbing, building careers, collecting credentials, creating foundations. They work long hours, manage goals obsessively, and are often their own harshest bosses. Reputation matters deeply during this phase. They want to be seen as capable, exceptional, and forward-moving. Failure hits hard, validation matters, and while they rarely admit it, they sometimes measure their worth by what they've done, rather than who they've become. But something shifts as they move into their 40s and beyond. There's often a reckoning, a quiet revolution inside. The constant striving becomes exhausting. The chase for perfection begins to feel hollow. Around this time, many Virgo dragons experience a transformation. They begin to ask deeper questions. What am I building? Who is it for? Does it align with my spirit, not just my goals? They often begin trading obsession for balance, control for flow, performance for purpose. It's not about losing ambition, it's about aiming it better. This stage of life often brings spiritual exploration, creative rebirth, or a renewed connection to service and legacy. Even into old age, the Virgo dragon never stops learning. They are eternal students, not because they doubt themselves, but because they crave refinement. They read, study, adapt, and evolve. Retirement, for them, is not the end of work, it's the beginning of contribution without deadlines. They may mentor, teach, write, consult, or volunteer, anything that allows them to keep shaping the world with wisdom and care. Their true aspiration, beneath all the achievements, is to build a life that is efficient yet extraordinary. A life that flows smoothly, but glows with meaning. A life that feels like a machine, precise, reliable, effective, but one crafted like a masterpiece. Artful, intentional, enduring. Final thoughts. The Virgo dragon is a force unlike any other, a living paradox of structure and fire, logic and passion, precision and power. They are not loud in their brilliance, yet their presence commands attention. They are not reckless in their ambition, yet they rise higher than most. This is the kind of person who reshapes lives quietly, builds empires with meticulous hands, and holds a heart full of silent thunder. They don't crave attention, they crave impact. They don't scream for validation, they earn it. While others are busy talking, the Virgo dragon is already 3 steps ahead, creating, refining, building a legacy that will last long after the noise has faded. Their journey is rarely smooth, and it was never meant to be. The Virgo dragon walks a path filled with pressure, expectations, and relentless inner voices demanding more. They feel everything deeply but often hide it beneath competence. They carry the weight of responsibility, the burden of perfection, and the desire to leave the world better than they found it. And yet, for all this intensity, their life is anything but joyless. There is meaning in their mission. There is beauty in their blueprint. The Virgo dragon is here not to glide, but to grow. Not to blend in, but to lead. Not to follow, but to forge something entirely new. If you are a Virgo dragon, hear this. You are not too much. You are not too intense, too exacting, too ambitious, or too demanding. You are forged from brilliance, carved by purpose, and guided by a fire that few will ever understand. Own your vision. Don't shrink to fit into spaces that were never built for your size of spirit. At the same time, allow softness to meet your strength. Balance your mind with heart, your judgment with grace. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to be invulnerable to be respected. The world needs your standards, but it also needs your soul. Forgive your flaws. They are not failures, they are fingerprints. Every misstep, every detour, every unfinished dream, they are part of the map that got you here. Virgo may want to correct everything. Dragon may want to conquer everything. But some of your greatest gifts will come when you surrender the need for control and trust the mess. Your humanity is not a weakness, it is your key to deeper wisdom, greater connection, and lasting joy. And your greatness? It doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing what matters most with everything you've got. If you love a Virgo dragon, know this. They are not easy, but they are exceptional. They may challenge you, they may push you, they may demand more from you than you thought you had. But beneath their intensity is a deep, unshakable love, a loyalty that runs marrow deep. a desire to see you thrive. Love them with patience, let them overthink, then surprise them with laughter. Challenge their walls gently, celebrate their victories loudly, and most of all, believe in their dreams. Because if they choose you, it means they see something extraordinary in you. And once they rise, they'll take you with them, higher than you ever imagined. In the end, the Virgo dragon is not just a person, they are a phenomenon. A quiet revolution, a storm wrapped in stillness. They were born to lead, to heal, to master, to transform. And if they stay true to themselves, if they honor both the Virgo's wisdom and the dragon's fire, there is truly no force on earth that can stop them.